Right, I think that's right. And I think we're on. That looks all right today. Let's get that on. And let's get that on. Okay, right. Right, let's see how we get on today. Hello and welcome to How to Cook Vegan Anything, brackets, and what to do when things go wrong. And that's the name of the YouTube channel, and that's the name of the website with all the recipes, and both those things are friends, and that's where everything is at. And what we have here are some falafels, which I have cooked in this Ninja here, and we're going to go through that today. And these here are just going to go here. I'm going to use them later to demonstrate how I personally like to eat falafel. And then what we're going to do first is to go straight into these here. I've got falafel mix everywhere, and I've made some balls here, and we're going to just spray them. Now, this Ninja here would need to be preheated for 5 minutes at 200 degrees. It's very important, if you're following this recipe, that this Ninja or your oven is very hot, 200 degrees. Now, this has just been on, so this is at 200 degrees, and we're going to cook these raw balls in here for 10 minutes. And at 200 degrees, it has to be 200 degrees, and I hope that I've made that really clear. Why? Because at the end of the day, this is raw chickpea. This hasn't been cooked. So I'm using a spray here to just spray and roll these balls here. Can I just repeat, these chickpeas have been soaked in water overnight, but they haven't been cooked. They're raw. It's raw chickpeas. So you need to have this oven hot enough. I have played around with hotter, they burnt, lower, longer, inconvenient, not 100% they're cooked, gut ache. I have suffered for this. So here we are. We're going to put him on, and we're going to just get him down to, that's the one, 10 minutes. And we're going to put these balls in, and I've got 6 going in. Well, why not? I have mix for many. So we're going to put those in. And during this cooking process, we're going to sort of twizzle them around a bit and make sure that they're evenly sprayed and evenly cooked. So that's where we're at. I'm just checking. I've had no questions. Hang on a minute. I can see somebody writing something already. I can see that I'm live. I have got my microphone. Everything I think is okay. All right. So we are going to just quickly demonstrate now. So it's raw chickpeas from dried, yes. So what we have here is raw chickpeas. So I soaked these overnight. You can't soak them for long enough, quite honestly. So yes, cooked chickpeas from cans, I'm not so sure about. I think it was all quite mushy, to be quite honest. So these have been soaked in 1.5 litres water. So 250 grams of dry chickpeas. It was a Booths packet, quite honestly. 1.5 litres, 2 litres, as much fresh water as you can. Give them loads of room. Don't just put them in a Tupperware. Give them loads of room. And so the chickpeas are up to about here. The water's up to about here. It's hard to show. And yes, they're nice and hydrated. And you can put them in a fridge or leave them out, maybe in a garage if it's nice and cold. No, not out of a can, and the reason is because it just goes really mushy, and actually chickpeas out of a can have been soaked and cooked in the same water, and it's all a bit different, and that is possibly why I haven't liked chickpea falafel before, because I've never done it this method. This method is Ottolenghi, because why not go to the best guy around for this? I always make up my own recipes, but this is his, and quite right too. So here we are. So we've got the chickpeas, and you know when they're right, to be honest, because they go a lot bigger and they just look right. The thing about soaking and cooking your own pulses is that they retain their integrity, and I think that canned pulses are all very different, all the same to each other. They're just like this mushy stuff. Whereas when you cook things yourself, they just become, you know, they're different. A chickpea is different than a ballotti and the rest. So yeah, here we are now. This has been in two and a half minutes. So as you're probably aware, air fryers go off. And I'm just spraying these around, spraying these and moving these around a little bit, and start to just notice when you look at them which side has cooked and which hasn't, and turn it over and get the brown side up so the other side is down. So every 2.5, 3 minutes, without being silly about it, you know, you're watching the time, you're going to be turning those balls. Now then, we're going to put these chickpeas into this processor. And you're going to pulse them down. Now, the thing about this is, I think the success of this recipe, because in brackets, what to do when things go wrong, or what to do, why things go wrong as well. The thing about this is you've got to get this right, and you've got to have the chickpea small enough to cook, but big enough to retain some of its integrity. So we put these in first and we start breaking them down, and I am going to make sure that you see how small these get, but 2 mil pieces max, as it were. And it's got to be small enough so it cooks, but it can't be so small that it's just like hummus. And let's just see. So right, okay, I've got more question coming in, so I'll just have a look at that in a minute. But we're going to just pulse these. Now, I would advise that you pulse, because you've got control. And also, whenever you do anything in the processor, I would advise you pulse to start with, and just get a sense of how hard is it. You know, what is it that you're doing, and how hard is that ingredient, and how much force. Don't just go press and leave. Well, you might do that for soup, but I generally don't. I always just kind of pulse a bit and go, oh, what's going to happen now? Oh, what's going to happen now? You know, I'm holding this on because this is quite forceful, and it can sometimes just switch the processor off. Now then, I'm just checking, not out if I can, I'm just checking. That looks like that's going on a low battery. We can't get everything right, can we? Right, so we're just going to continue to pulse these. Okay. And in practice, I think I was about 8 to 12 pulses. Okay, good. All right. No, I like that. Okay, so let's just get some of this out. Now then, let's just bring this in front of the camera. I'm not moving the camera just tonight because it's just going to be extremely difficult. That's not very good, is it? I don't know what you can see there, but anyway, it's quite well broken up. And we're going to put, oh, that's better. We're going to put, that might be better. Don't panic, I am going to get all these cameras, I'm going to get a second feed. Right, so this now is quite well broken, and I would say that the piece is about 5 to 7 millimeters long. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and I'm happy enough now to put in the other ingredients. Let's just get this out. We just want to roll these around. So here we are, you can see that they're coming up brown now. Just get another little spray in there. So just roll them around in the spray. That starts again, good. Okay, so what we've got going into these raw chickpeas is about half an onion, a brown onion. So I've chopped that already because I knew it would get quite tight here. So that's gone in. We've got a garlic clove as well here. Let's just actually let's do what I thought about. So we'll just roughly chop him up. So we've got him in. Now then, where are they? Here they are. So I've got some spices and herbs here, spices and flour here actually. So it's all on the recipe. It's coriander, cumin, green cardamom, dried lime, which I'll come back to, tablespoon of flour, good, absorbing water, baking powder, ooh, a bit of lift, and some chili flakes. I think that was it. I'll just write it down just in case. It's done. I did it. Okay, good. So dried lime, here they are. And they're quite literally dried lime. And they're very intense lime flavour. And I put them in my grinder and ground it up, and it is lovely. And I'm off piece now with Ottolenghi, and I put some in here, and it's wow. So yes, all of those, Amazon. There's a link. The good thing about the new recipe, the place that I put the recipes, to be honest, is everything's linked in. Every ingredient, everything, piece of equipment, it's all linked. The air fryer's linked, everything's linked, so you can just see exactly what I have and what I'm using, so I don't need to labour the point too much. So those spices are now going to go in as well. And what else we have is some herbage. Now you can choose. I really like parsley. Parsley, coriander, I think you could mince in there, chives, probably chervil, dill, whatever you've got, but you need three tablespoons, so 3 tablespoons. But we're not going to do that now. We're going to pulse again. And pulse again because you can watch your onion and your garlic going through, and you want to see it go in, and then you can also have a look, see if there's bits here, and get them in before it all gets too silly in there. So the aroma coming out of here now is absolutely fabulous. Really, really good. I'm going to get the camera over and have a look in here. So don't worry about that, but I didn't want to spend too much time moving it around. Now I'm going to put it on. Good, okay, so that's it. We're going to move this camera now so you can see. So you don't feel all frustrated, which I can understand. Yeah, so let's just see where we can go with this. And shout out, Kerry, because I can see you there. Shout out if you can't see or you need me to change. So here we go. Let's just have a look, see. Need to turn this light. What's right for one thing isn't right for another. Good, okay, so you can see. I'm going to keep it still. That's how big it is. It could do with being a little bit smaller, but you can see the flecks of chili and other things. It smells absolutely fantastic. I've got 19 seconds on the other balls. So that's where we're up to. So this, just think about it, this is what's going to be in your mouth. And you want this texture right. Just having a look on screen, seeing what you're seeing now. Try and get this all sorted. Oh, there's a sunlight coming right through the window behind me. Okay, let's just keep it there. Right, okay, so we're going to pulse this a little bit more. And what I'm just looking for is this to just be a little bit smaller, but not much, and that's okay. And then at this point, you need to be putting in your herbage. Now, I think Ottolenghi just says bung it in. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's quite right, because what you could, the danger of that is, in terms of things going wrong, the danger of that is you're going to, you could over process, and then this lovely herb stops being a herb and stops tasting of something. It just becomes this green kind of mush. I'm just trying not to get too far. A bit weird, like lying back. And so yeah, you know, I want you to have the experience of the herb in your mouth. So I thought, no, they can chop, my lovely people, chop and put in, and can just use a couple of pulses to mix. It's not mixing quite right. Mix it a bit for yourself. Now then, what I'm also just thinking about at the moment is I've got this air fryer now. I'm just going to demonstrate putting some balls in here, and I want the air fryer to maintain its heat. So let's just get that. Right, that's that finished. Right, now we've got the balls here. So let me just see. I can just about see that's in shot now. So yes, that's nice. That's a 20 gram. So we're just going to just show you now how to roll these properly. So let's get these ones out. Sorry for leaning. I've got some for demo later. So let me just get this on for a reheat. Right, good. Okay, so let's just think now. What we're going to do is roll some. And, whoops, yes, that's it. Very good. We're going to roll some. And that's all good, that's all good. Right, so, now then, what you actually want is a tablespoon of mix about, but that's a little big. You know, this here is not quite that. But the cooking timings have been tested on approximately 20 grams because these are really lovely. These are nothing like anything I've ever had before, and they're properly cooked. And I want you to make these balls small enough so that you can cook them and eat them happily and not have any gut pain. So don't make them too big to start with. You could make them slightly bigger and flatter to just maintain a good cooking. So about 20 grams. Now I happen to know that 20 grams is about that amount in my hand. That's what it is. And then you need to press this mix together. And I found the easiest way, it's a bit just coming off, you really need to press it because otherwise it falls apart. So I did this and then rolled it a little bit, took the edges off, and you can see those herbs now. And I just found the easiest way was to get some on a spoon and then fill this part of my hand, these fingers. You know, I don't actually have very big hands, but you know what you need to do if you've not done this before, you need to get your weighing scales out and measure on 20 grams and roll it in your hands and get a feel for it, and then you can do what I'm doing here, which is confidently produce balls which are the same size, cook well, etc. So teach yourself. I can see that's a bit big, you see. You could probably see that from where you are as well. So you know, you're judging by eye as much as anything else, aren't you? Now this mix, well, it was 250 grams of dry, so that becomes 500 grams of soaked chickpeas. You're adding probably another 150 grams of ingredients, so you've probably got sort of 600 or 650 grams of ingredients, and each ball is 20 grams raw. I haven't actually weighed any of these balls when they're cooked, which is a slight omission, but I will and add that to the recipe, I think, just for metaphor's sake. Right, I'm just going to do 6. And this mix feels quite wet. So what could go wrong here is you could go, oh, they're falling apart. Well, if they are, I don't think they will, but if they are, you could add a tiny bit of water, couldn't you? I mean, you know, can you see that just fell apart? Well, I'm just going to squeeze them together again. You know, this is a time-consuming, you see, he's just falling apart. So I'm just going to go for a different bit of mix with that and see what we can do. Quite glad that happened, actually. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's something to do with my hands now being quite wet. It's sort of pulling them apart. So if they're routinely falling apart, maybe just clean your hands, dry your hands again. Push them together. So yes, this is Ottolenghi's recipe, method, etc. I've added dried lime to it. He's cayenne pepper, I've used chili flakes because I just like them. But it adds a bit of heat. So that's that. And just coming up now is the air fryer. So let's just put now I did just want to say that this mix freezes. Come back on in shot. This mix freezes really well, so you could make the mix, freeze it, defrost it, make the balls. I probably wouldn't make the balls, freeze them, defrost them. I haven't done that because I just don't think that's the way to do it. You know, you need to freeze them. If you need to make this ahead, freeze the mix, and then make them into balls. You know, because to freeze that's quite delicate. I wouldn't bother with that, having handled it. I'll probably do that now. I'll probably just do that tonight, actually. Just make some of those and then freeze them and see what they're like on defrost. But that's potentially a load of issues. I would just freeze the mix, defrost it, make balls and go. I would consider part cooking those and freezing them, but they're going to be a bit dry and tough. And one of the lovely things about this is they're really kind of rich and moist inside. I don't know what a freeze would do. Again, I'll probably shove some of those in the freezer. So we'll see. Right, okay, so we've got, so yeah, a few little testes for me to do, maybe on the freezing, but I just thought anybody making those and freezing those down I don't envy them that, because it's just not going to work, because they're quite delicate until they're cooked. So let's get these in. I mean, it's a good idea, I think, to get a family, children involved in this one. Right, okay, so that's nice now. That's done, isn't it? So part of my aversion to falafel was probably just shop bought ones, and then also not appreciating that, you know, traditional falafel are made with raw chickpea. So that's that. Also, I just have always thought they were very dry, tasteless. These are not tasteless. So what I wanted to do is to show you. Okay, I never know what to have with falafel, salad or a sandwich. Well, this is, I'm with you, Kerry. I had no idea. Great minds, I think alike. Well, actually, no, I hope your mind doesn't think like mine, because you probably don't sleep very well. Now then, I've decided that the best thing to do would be to end this demonstration with a demonstration of what I think is the best way of dealing with falafel. Now then, I have everything here that I need. And you know, I know. It's all like, oh God, really? But actually, this is really easy and really quick. Right, so here's some I prepared earlier. And if I was just eating this at home now, well, I have. Over the last week, I've eaten a lot of falafel, and this is the way for me to do it. Let me just see. I'm on camera, aren't I? Yes, okay. Now, I have got simple salad leaves here, and I really do like falafel as a pizza, on a pizza, basically. I like to eat it with a fork and a knife, and I'm not a big wrap girl. Why? Because I think it's all very messy, and I think there's a time for finger food and mayonnaise all over the place and bits and pieces dropping out on your lap. There's a place for that, and that's on a mountain, not here. And I think a really nice way to deliver falafel into your home, your family situation, is to make something of it and make it into a proper meal and actually do it justice. So I've got some simple green lettuce here, shredded on the diagonal. I basically just took a cos lettuce, chopped the end off, and then just put it into quarters. Ignored the fact it was made of leaves, quartered it, and then just sliced on the diagonal. I took some cucumber and took the seeds out, which I usually do for nice things. So you have nice segments. And then, of course, you can't just put salad down on your falafel pizza without thinking, oh God, okay, that looks all like rubbish. I'm going to have to just make a dressing. So, to cook, this is what this channel is about, I think, is to learn how to cook, not follow a recipe. So, the cook's mind now says, that's dry bread, that's dry lettuce, that looks nice, but that's dry. So before I go any further, let's just have a think. Now, falafel, notorious for being dry. Okay, so we've got some wet elements here, mayonnaise and a Cheats preserved lemon, again, an Ottolenghi, which is all good. But dress. And then you think, okay, well, the cook's mind says, all right, so we're in falafel land, so what ingredients have I used in the falafel, and what ingredients are in that Iranian area, Persia, whatever. So this is a Persian dressing, and it's made with sesame seed, oil, yes, and some vinegar, and the normal thing of some salt, and it's got some sesame seeds in there, and some za'atar, and also some harissa. So that's now better, moist, all good. It's got some salt in there as well, and these falafel are quite salty, so that's good. Okay, I think that's okay now. I'm just thinking, yes. So let's just get a knife. I knew I needed another knife. Let's get this. Now, I've chosen this serrated knife. Forgetting my own rule here. See, these look different actually because they're slightly less pulverised, and the mix for the other ones I've made already had been in the freezer. I got to the point where I couldn't eat any more falafel and I had to start freezing the mix. That's why I know it freezes well. Right, so I've got a serrated knife. Probably just can't see that. So I'm just going to cut them up. Can't see that. And start loading your protein on. And you can turn some of them up the way, some of them down the way, and actually just now I think that quartering some is nice. I must admit I've only plated this once. I thought, oh, that'll do, I know how to do that, so that's okay. But, I think that's okay. I quite like that. Okay, so good. Now then, you've got to remember this is a pizza, because actually, the temptation is to go with things, and it's going to be such a huge thing that you can't get it in. Right, okay, so now we're gonna just drizzle a little bit more dressing over. I'm aiming a bit of dressing on those falafel. That's that. Then I'm just going to do some dollops of mayo. So, you know, 3 or 5. Good. What else? Let's just do this. Sesame seeds. That's enough. What else? What else? Yep. Lemon over, of course. Lemon zest. Thyme. Parsley. Oh gosh, that looked awful. So yes, I'm just now thinking I'm just going to rip the... I'm usually one for cutting parsley up, but actually for this I just thought it looked really lovely to not be overly chopped up. You know, nature has given us little petals of parsley, all different sizes. So let's just have a look at them on this nice big plate. You know, you've got to use the space you've got. That's good. Now then, where's that gone? Now this is my Cheats preserved lemon, which is basically cooked lemon in a pan, lid on, bit of water, and then processed. Now, if you can do this so that you're getting the fresh ones out to put on here, brilliant. Now, this Cheats preserved lemon is absolutely brilliant, but it's very strong, so please don't use very much. I made it and then happily put it over everything. Oh, no, horrible. So, a bit of that. Good. And then finally, rose petals. Absolutely lovely. With and without, I've tried. And just this little aromatic, you know, top chefs dress their food often with petals. There. Okay, that is really lovely. And we're just going to have a look at that. Obviously, I'm going to put a bit of pepper on. I'm going to have this for my tea after. So let's just have a look now at this. Come on, camera. Right, okay. So there we are. So that's what I think we should be doing with falafel, making a pizza out of it. Let me just check these. Yeah, I'm just going to get these out. They're 40 seconds away, but I think they'll be okay. And I just want to just chop one of these up. Let's put him off. So... yeah, these ones are quite different because they haven't been frozen and they're very fresh. Now they're quite squidgy inside, so you know it's cooked when it's squidgy inside, but it quite honestly it tastes cooked. But they've got to be in 200 for 10 minutes. They absolutely must. And if you can coordinate it, look at the outside of that. It's quite different. Much more textured, isn't it, than that. Inside, that's the fresh, and that's the frozen. Same recipe. So it seems to have lost a little bit of colour on this one. It's gone a bit smoother. I was very careful to do both the same. So that's it. So if you can put fresh onto your tea, if you make a falafel pizza for anybody, ideal. Let's just have another look. You know, they do sit quite nicely. So that's how I do it. I think it's the other thing I was going to say is, if you do need to take that to go, what I do is halve it. So I put everything on half, and then the empty half. Let's just get a new one. Right, okay, so let's just see what we can do here whilst also showing that. Right, okay. Now, so if you're wanting it to go, you want to put salad and everything on that side, and then you can turn this up, and then you can roll him round. And in that way, you've got everything held. I still think it's not my preferred, because whatever I do, as soon as I start eating, things start coming out. Another thing that I did was I just used half. I think I did the photograph actually last week on this. I put half. Yeah, that's what I did. I put I put some mix here, and then it was there, and then I rolled it like a cone round, and then everything was in there, and that actually worked quite well. So you could do that, but then of course it's like, well, how's all that going to stick together? Those look pretty. I mean, you see that styled on loads of food blogs and stuff, but I don't think it's very practical, and I'm not in the business of that. I just want everything to work properly. So that would be a way, wouldn't it? An ice cream cone style of thing. Or bagel, a bagel would work, or just regular bread. And just do what I've done for the pizza, but then just put a piece of bread on top. That's probably how I would do that. I'm never ever going to try and eat falafel again out of some packet fingers, balls. No, not going to do that. So that's it. So with a couple of little additions, this jar here is very easy product to make. Preserved lemon, cheat style. I don't really like preserved lemons, the Belle Azou that I can get in the shops. I don't like those. This is all quite easy, isn't it? A few rose petals make a difference, and there we go. That's well, I can't eat all of that, but that's some of my tea. Now then, before I just you mentioned a YouTube channel. I don't think I've seen it on the Facebook page. Okay, so is that enough? Have you seen enough of that so I can turn the camera? I think probably yes. Yes. Okay, let's just get me back. And I need to be able to see the clock. And I need to stop because I've got people coming into this kitchen. Okay, so I've got a YouTube channel now, How to Cook Vegan Anything, and it is the same name as my website, How to Cook Anything, howtocookvegananything.com, howtocookvegananything.com. So YouTube, link to recipes, link to YouTube. Those two things are working side by side, they're brother and sister, and that's where it's at. That's where everything is at now, and that has been done over the last few weeks. And the YouTube channel is growing all the time with subscribers, and the idea is to take this content out and improve this whole production setup over time. So we've got going, we're running, but we're not running very quickly, but we've got going. So those links will be underneath this Facebook Live post. Gradually everything's moving over to the YouTube channel, the community and everything. It's sort of where it's at to reach the numbers that I think need to know how to do these things and to have these skills in a no nonsense approach. So that's what that is. Packed lunch cold, I think that would be all right. Yes, I think this would work quite well. I mean, I've eaten plenty of falafel recently cold to test it out, and it's fine. It's not as nice, it's not as squidgy, but it's okay. And I think it's a good option. Personally, I think I wouldn't make any bigger balls. I don't really like eating balls, to be honest. But keeping us thinking about cooking, a patty. A thin burger style patty would be nice, I think. A really good slab of protein, that, isn't it? I did actually really like, but I've sort of pulled back from demonstrating that Violife vegan Greek cheese. I like that on this, and in a sandwich. That's. But I thought, oh, I can't do that. So yeah, that's it. Have we got any more questions? Let me just check. I did just say if anybody else has got any questions, they could email. Let's just check my email. I don't think there's anything there. So sorry for the change. Sorry for the change to a Thursday. Sorry for the change back to the Wednesday. Things out of my control. No live demo next week. I'm preparing actually the tofu masterclass, which I hope to put out in 2 weeks' time, if not 3 weeks' time. And yeah, I'm hoping to actually move over to the YouTube live format as well, and just better. So we'll see, but lots of changes ahead. But yeah, baked tofu session in 2 or 3 weeks time. So that's all. Yes, like the sound of the patty. I think the patty will work really well, but it's quite dry. So just make sure that you do layer it up with a tomato would be good. Portobello mushroom burger that you learnt in the course. Maybe you haven't done that yet, Kerry, but we used a burger and we stuffed it. Well, you could make a thin patty and use that as a stuffing for a portobello mushroom. That would work really well because you've got the moisture from the portobello mushroom coming through into the patty. And if it's a bit more moist, I think that the flavours become a little bit more accessible. So that's it. I'm sure that I did actually just write myself some notes. Yeah, do make sure that you have one of these for easy oiling. You've got to get these bad boys oiled properly so that they can cook nicely on the outside. Oh, you can put them in the oven, of course. Yes, definitely, that's all good, but just a nice hot oven. But yeah, using one of these sprays is a lot easier than trying to get them coated in oil in another way. Ottolenghi actually deep fries them. I wanted to move away from that completely because, oh gosh, then you end up with a pan that's full of oil, and that's fine for a chef, but it's not great for a home. I just made a note here of things that I just wanted to make sure I remember to tell you. Good, so that's it. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great time making your own falafel, your nice fresh vegan falafel. Bye for now.